Why nonviolent communication will never inspire a man's devotion. First of all, I was streaming this video a few minutes ago, and I was streaming it for like 3 minutes talking, and I'm like, why is nobody watching me? Why do I have no views? And I realized it was because I was streaming to my secret group that has no people in it. So I thought nobody liked me anymore, but I realized that's not what happened. Anyway, so I'm redoing this, and the reason that I'm doing a video on this is because in my Facebook group there was yet again a whole bunch of comments and advice about using nonviolent communication in a relationship, and it's really bad advice. I want to be clear: nonviolent communication has some advantages, right? Especially, in the workplace, and in certain negotiating areas, and maybe in a school and whatever. That's fine, right? So I'm not saying it's garbage. And I'm not even saying it's garbage in a relationship. It's certainly a heck of a lot better than the way that most couples communicate to each other. So using nonviolent communication, you can take a relationship from like massive blow-ups and conflicts and absolutely hating each other to a relatively somewhat peaceful, calm, respectful relationship. But you can never go to a dream relationship because nonviolent communication is naturally depolarizing. I would never use it in my relationship, and I would never want my wife, and I would lead her to stop using nonviolent communication if she ever tried doing that to me. And it's depolarizing both when the man uses it and when the woman uses it. So I'm going to talk today about when women use it, and I think I'm going to have to eventually do a video about why it's depolarizing when men use it. So first of all, what is nonviolent communication? Well, it's based on 4 main principles, we'll call them, and you kind of join them all together and basically communicate in kind of in various different ways. But I'm just going to read these out. So principle number 1, observing the situation. For an example, and this is instead of like making judgments. So the dishes are piling up in the sink. This one's actually not bad. And it's what I would, and what I do teach women how to do is just express problems, right? Instead of offering solutions and instead of making judgments, right? You're just expressing a problem about a situation, a problem that you have, because men like solving problems for their women, right? When they're not led to do it and when they're not given the solution. So principle number 1, for the most part, I have no problem with it, though I'm going to get back to it later. Principle number 2, identifying the feelings that are arising from the situation. So like, I feel upset. I feel afraid that the man hurts my cat. I'm just reading out some examples here. I feel that my colleague friend has low consideration of me. Okay, so there's a mix of good and bad in here. First of all, it's great when women express their feelings. Of course, I am always leading women to express their feelings. That's a very important part about becoming more feminine and letting go of control and opening up your heart and just, being vulnerable, right? Here's the problem with this though. First of all, one of these examples, so I feel that my colleague friend has low consideration of me. That's not a feeling. That's a perception. Let's be really clear here. That's not a feeling at all. And so if a woman did that to her man, like, I feel like you have low consideration of me. Okay, that's basically a judgment, but you're adding an I feel onto it. A man's not going to respond well to that if he's in touch with his instincts. And this is part of the problem, right? Because this nonviolent communication is often used with men that are completely disassociated from their instincts entirely, right? Usually very emasculated men, right? Like conscious men. men who read books like Nonviolent Communication. uh, there's another problem with this too, with these I feel statements. One is that a lot of these feelings, they're blame feelings, right? And you can feel it as a man when a woman says these feelings, like, I feel disrespected, right? Disrespected, that's a feeling that's been done to you. So it is essentially the same as saying, you made me feel X, right? It's blame, but it's just more subtle. But it's not subtle enough for a man to not notice it, right? So if my woman said, like, I feel disrespected, that's not vulnerable. You can feel the blame in that, and there is a vulnerable feeling underneath that feeling of disrespected, which is probably something like feeling unworthy or feeling insignificant or something like that. But overall, principle number 2, it definitely has some merits. Principle number 3, identifying the needs to be met. There's good and bad to this one. I actually really encourage women to express their needs, right? Like, I need help, or I need, I need, like, I need a hug, right? Something like that. You can express your need in a really vulnerable, beautiful way that a man will be incredibly receptive to. The problem with this, and it's actually a problem with so much of these principles, is it's all about the intentionality, right? It's about the energy behind it. And the whole structure and the whole energy behind this is, it's a leading energy, right? It's not a true, open, vulnerable energy that tends to be behind this. So you could say a lot of these needs, and a man will not respond very well to it, because he can feel that, like, oh, I'm being led, like, she's trying to get an outcome in some kind of way, and that doesn't feel good. But can you express your needs in a vulnerable way by saying, I need X? Yeah, absolutely. And when a woman can do that, that's amazing. But women have got to understand that so much of your communication, it's not even the words that matter. Like, I give women tools, like specific ways of communicating, to get them into their heart, right? That's what's ultimately really important, rather than like speaking more from your mind, right? And when you have this convoluted way of talking with all these principles and expressing in this certain formulaic kind of way, where are you going to be? You're not going to be in your heart. You're going to be up in your head, right? Trying to deliver this right. And that's why it's not going to land well. It can land better than being abusive, absolutely. But it's so fundamentally different than being truly vulnerable. That feeling of, like, when your heart is fully exposed and open, and like you just say, like, oh, like, I need a hug, or you're expressing a feeling like, I feel really insignificant. That inspires a man's devotion, when it's so clean and there's no kind of outcome that a woman's trying to get, and she's not inhibited in any way, she's just fully open. Now that's beautiful. Okay, principle number 4, expressing a clear request that will make my life better. I would like you to help me clean the dishes on the days I come back from work. Oh my God. If that is unbelievably masculine energetically, right? That is, you're trying to get an outcome, and you are expressing a solution that you want rather than a problem. Men do not want to hear a woman's solutions. You have essentially taken away the gift that a man can give you. Part of his gift is giving you a solution to your problem. If you give him the solution, now he just gets to be a slave for you. He's your little slave boy. And that is not going to feel good to him. And this entire structure, like the entire energy of all of these principles together, I'm just going to read an entire thing. When my cat touched your earphones, you mimicked a violent gesture toward him, and you now raise your voice with me. It looks like you feel angry. Could you please explain to me the reasons for it? Oh, God. So glad my wife never learned these techniques. It takes so much, so much effort to deprogram this nonsense. Yeah, like that, like, what does that feel like? That feels like leading. It's softening, like it's really softened leadership, right? And that's what I would talk about if I do a video about men, but it's definitely leading. So it's not going to land well for any man that's in touch with his instincts at all, right? And especially because like you're just dumping all of this onto a man, right? You're not allowing him to lead, right? Whereas if you just expressed your feelings or expressed a need or whatever, a man would actually have an opportunity to lead you deeper, lead the conversation deeper. But no, you're just dumping all of this convoluted stuff onto him, and then giving him a solution that you want, or telling him a solution that you want. I would like this. I want this. No masculine man is going to respond well to that, and it's not going to inspire his devotion. And here's the other problem. The problem is that for men that are not in touch with their instincts, or are not very masculine, like who are not really, it's not that they're not capable, because any man is capable of leading a woman, but he doesn't know how to do it without a really feminine woman's feminine energy and feelings to guide him. What's going to happen is he is going to hear this stuff, and it's going to be like, oh wow, she said it to me in a really nice way. Like, she wasn't nagging me, she wasn't being a total bitch, she wasn't being really judgmental. Okay, I guess I'll do this, right? And he'll go tuck his penis in between his legs, and he'll go do the thing that she wants. And that's a really big problem, because even though he's doing the thing, right? He's doing the thing, which it's great. He's doing the thing that you wanted. But the problem is, every time he does that, he is weakening himself. He is becoming weaker to serve you. So it's not an act of devotion, it's an act of servitude, right? So he'll do the thing, but he won't like it. Like, it'll be energetically draining for him. And the more he does it, the more it's going to drain him. So if a woman gets really good at this nonviolent communication and is giving out all these requests, and I'd like you to do this, and can you please do this, and I have this need and I have that need, and it's gonna kill a man. It's going to kill him energetically. Like, it is slowly going to drain his life force, and his balls are just going to shrivel up, and he's going to lose interest in serving you. Whereas a woman who is actually energetically being feminine, who's not trying to get these outcomes from a man, that's what inspires a man's devotion. It's when he's not being led. I mean, it's part of what inspires his devotion. There's a bunch of parts to it, but he's not being led anymore. So now he is energetically free to step up and lead the conversation, lead the conflict resolution, lead you deeper into your feelings and into your vulnerability, right? That's what a man needs, and that is going to feel so good for him. He is going to feel like a man. He is going to feel respected as a leader. He is going to feel trusted as a leader. He's going to feel like his leadership is being received. That feels amazing. Nonviolent communication feels like you just got punched in the balls. I mean, it feels like you got punched in the balls with less force than if a woman is judging you and blaming you and yelling at you and like nagging you and all this kind of stuff. So I guess it's better than that, but it's still a punch in the balls, right? If you have, and it's just so like intellectual, like heady, right? It's so disconnected from the heart. It's not what a man needs. It's not going to inspire him. He's not going to he's not going to grow up in the way that he needs to. It just creates a really androgynous, depolarized dynamic that is not really fun anymore. Just seeing if there's any questions. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, and of course, if men try doing this, I don't know if I really want to get into it on this video, but it's the same kind of thing. Like, I have read these statements, right? Like, as a man would, I'm like, no, there's no cock in that at all. Like, there's none. It's just very softened, like extremely soft leadership and feminized leadership is what it is, right? And it is allowing, you know, it's tippy-toeing around a woman's trauma as well, right? To not set her off because she can't handle a man who can energetically really penetrate her, right? And just be radically honest and centered, right? Emotionally centered, but radically honest and blunt about what's going on. So you got to use all this soft language about feelings and needs and all this other and requests. That's not masculine. I mean, it's masculine energetically, but it's not dominant masculine. It's not, you know, really masculine leadership. What about something like her? I feel unsafe when you're not home. I feel like someone could just climb in this window and push the door in. Yeah, well, I mean, you got to always just start with the feeling and let the man lead from there, right? Because here's the thing: when you express the feeling and then you explain all the complex reasoning behind the feeling, are you in your heart or are you in your head? It's a rhetorical question, of course. You're in your head, right? A man, like, what feels good for a man about a woman expressing her feelings isn't the fact that she's labeling a feeling. Hey, I feel unsafe right now. No, it's the fact that he's feeling your feelings, right? The only way for him to feel your feelings is if you are expressing them from your heart, not as a conceptual label from your head. So you've got to be able to get into your heart. You've got to be able to live from your heart, live in your heart. You're expressing from your heart all the time. And women most women have a lot of difficulty doing that, right? Even just being there, let alone expressing from there, is really difficult because there's so much pain in a woman's heart, right? That she doesn't want to deal with, that she doesn't want to be fully feeling. And so to escape from feeling it, where is she going to go? She's going to go up into her head. And then she's going to be talking from her head. And then she's going to be disconnected from her heart. And then her man is going to be disconnected from her heart. You see how that works? So you got to be able to get into your heart and really and feel whatever is in there, both the good and the bad, and express from that place. And of course, that's terrifying. It's not just terrifying. You know, it's scary for many women to just feel that pain. And then it's usually even much more scary to express that pain from that really vulnerable place. Because, all of the judgment that could happen, all of the, you know, what if I get abandoned, right? What if I'm too much? All of these really big fears that women have that keep her from being this truly beautiful, vulnerable, exposed self, and instead getting her to read books like Nonviolent Communication and talk in this really convoluted way that's not going to inspire man's devotion, right? This is what I help women do. Like, there's so much that I help women do with fully letting go of control, not asserting themselves in any way, not leading in any kind of way, but the core piece of it, that nothing else is going to work properly unless you've got this piece handled, is being in your heart, living in your heart, expressing from your heart all the time. That feeling of just being exposed, emotionally naked. It's beautiful. There's nothing more fucking beautiful in the world than a woman who is living that way. and where she's in her heart and also fully emotionally responsible with that, right? She's not dumping that onto somebody else, or like putting that needy energy out onto someone else, right? Like, so she's contained in the emotionally responsible sense, but she's still fully emotionally exposed. That is what a man really needs, and that's what I help women do. And it's a difficult thing to do because it is so terrifying, because there's so many excuses that are going to come up, right? And there's so many ways to avoid it, so many, and self-sabotage. And then maybe that one time when you're really calm, you're able to do it, but then in the moment with a man, when you get triggered in any way, well, you can totally forget about it, right? This is a difficult skill set, but when a woman learns to truly just live in her heart all the time, inspiring a man's devotion is like, it's the easiest thing in the world. How could she not do it? She doesn't even have to try. In fact, if she tried, it's not going to work. She just has to be. And that's what I help women do. And if that is something that you really want as a woman, and not just to inspire a man's devotion. I mean, that's amazing in itself. That's, of course, every woman wants that. But also just being able to do it for yourself. Like, you're free. You're out of your prison of your own mind, right? That freedom that comes from just fully being able to express and not worry, right? Like, you're able to hold your own space. You feel safe in your own body. You feel home. You can just be all the time. Like that, like, what an incredible gift that is, whether you have a man or not. But of course, you're going to inspire a man or your man easily and attract men easily once you're able to do that. And that is what I help women do more than anything. And if that's what you want to become that kind of woman who has that level of confidence and courage and ability to operate in the world. Okay, well, you need to get on a call with me. You need to get on a call, and we need to have a conversation about what is going on in your life, in your love life, why these problems are happening, why you are stuck, not able to express yourself in this way. We'll dive really deep into these problems. And I'm looking for women, not just any woman, right? I'm looking for women who are really, really serious about transforming themselves in this way, who are like so sick of being where they are, and they are willing to do anything to transform themselves. And they want to transform themselves right now. If that's you, if you want this, you can have it. You just have to be willing to step forward in the right direction. And that first step starts with a call with me. So go to relationshipofyourdreams.com, go to the main page and book a call. And let's start talking about this. But you've got to be serious. If you're not serious, don't do it. If you are serious and you're ready, if you're scared, but you are willing to be courageous and move through that fear, then it's time to get on a call with me and talk. I'm looking forward to our call.